I told you this week was all about you, and I think you'd agree that I wasn't lying. You've gained a lot of knowledge about yourself, and with this self-knowledge, I'm happy to say, you can begin the research process by doing two things. First, understanding how the common university information connects with you. Second, figuring out the right questions that you should be asking. Well, what do I mean? Let me use an example from my own experience. A long time ago, I went through the same process that you're going through. One of the first schools that I visited was a very large, highly ranked public university, and I loved it. The people were great. The campus was beautiful. They said all the right things. And then I saw a classroom. The classroom held 300 students, and we were told that several of our first-year courses would be that size. Now you have to understand, my graduating class from high school was less than 200 students. So you could fit my entire graduating class in that room with a lot of seats left over. Honestly, it scared me a little bit. After the visit, I thought about a lot of things. One of the things that I thought about was that I had a tendency to procrastinate. Procrastinate means to put things off until the last minute, things like assignments and papers. I needed my teachers to keep an eye on me and sometimes to give me a little push. So I wondered, could I handle the responsibility of not having that close attention, of being an independent learner in a large class? I thought about it and I said, yeah, I can probably handle it, but I realized that it wasn't the best fit for me. I now understood how the size of a school, one of these common pieces of information, connected with me personally. I also realized that the questions I had been asking, questions like, what is your average class size? Or how many students are on your campus? Were actually the wrong questions. The right questions for me were, what are the biggest classes I'll take? And how many large classes should I expect to take? Now, visiting campus helped me come to this realization, but I didn't need to visit campus to learn this about myself. If I would have taken the time to think about it, I would have seen it all along. And that's what you have been doing this week. During my time in admission and counseling, I have delivered and listened to more university presentations than I can count. I've also viewed and reviewed hundreds of university and admissions-related websites. And for the most part, universities always provide similar information. I'm not criticizing universities. They have to give the information that students want to know. What I want you to understand is that it's your responsibility as a student to understand how this information relates to you. It's also your responsibility to ask questions. I'll give you some examples. One thing that universities will always talk about is the quality of their academics. Some universities will refer to rankings. Some will cite awards. Some will talk about their amazing facilities, things like classrooms and laboratories. Other universities might measure the quality of their education by the outcomes of their students. Things like how many get jobs, how many attend graduate schools, or even the average starting salaries that their graduates earn. All of this information is great if it is important to you. You have to look at what you learned about yourself and decide what is important to you. If you want to study writing, how important are the outstanding laboratories? What if you want to study the sciences? Now, how important are those laboratories? What if you wanted to study both writing and the sciences? Could you? Are you attending a university to get an education or to get a job? If it's for an education, perhaps you should be asking about what the classroom experience is like. What are the professors like? How do they teach? What are the students like? You have to decide on the questions that are important to you. Moving outside of the classroom, we can see another example. Universities will always discuss student life on campus. The main component of student life is usually student clubs and organizations. And universities often will tell you how many organizations there are, and many times there are hundreds. Some schools will also highlight some of their more unique clubs. Clubs like Humans vs. Zombies, or even a Quidditch club. And yes, those both exist at many schools. The variety and opportunity to explore new activities are great things to have. However, it's impossible to be a part of 200 clubs. If there are certain activities that you love, it is important to ask about those specific activities. Not only if the school has them, but how big are they on campus? Similarly, you might want to ask, what are the most popular clubs on campus? The most popular, most active, biggest clubs will tell you a lot about the students on that campus. Also remember that student life goes far beyond clubs. It includes housing, dining, religious support services, personal support services, and much, much more. Think about what is important to you and ask questions about it. The information is out there, and much of it looks, sounds, and feels the same. This is one big reason why you put yourself through all of this crazy reflection and self-assessment, so that you can find what you want among many similar options. Again, I understand that this is hard. There is so much information out there that it's hard to know what's important and what's not. But I would ask you to keep two things in mind. First, we're going to talk about this a lot more in the research section of the course. And second, this is a process. The application and admission process is a process that has many steps. It's hard, but please be patient with the process.